do a couple things here. First,
Okay.
let's head on back to the Proving Grounds,
That's a bummer, I'm gonna be honest.
and then let's Void Abomination. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Reveal Season. AJ, it's week 2. Are you excited?
I'm the most excited for this one, as you probably know. But yes, I'm very excited.
So this is I would say, particularly special week in our reveal season for this first expansion because these are the first full set of cards that AJ designed for the game. So we kind of he came in and started working on Nightmares right as I think it was right around the time design had started for this expansion. Does that
Yep.
sound right?
Yep.
Yeah, I
That
think it
sounds
was
right.
like early stages of I think I had the idea for the concept, like the machinations. I think I'd thought that far, but I don't think any cards had really officially been designed yet.
No.
And we were sitting down talking and, working through how we were going to tackle it. And I was like, well, here's, why don't you take one of the realms and just run with it? And he went the void realm, and designed all of the cards and the archetypes we're about to look at. So, uh, AJ, I'll kind of hand it over to you. We've got the base machinations here on the screen, and we can kind of just talk through everything you designed before we jump into some deck text and then some gameplay.
All right, sweet. Gladly. All right, so the theme of this kind of archetype for the void here is around these void engines that you see on the left. So that's one of the two base machinations that you get outside of the generic ones that we covered kind of in the first week of reveal season. But a void engine is a 1/1/1, and it's got molten and anti-arcane on it. So those are two new keywords that we saw kind of spoiled with the forge. I think is what brought those out first week, right? We got the random
I think,
random
yeah, I think we
bases.
saw them, but I don't think we actually got to see the effect that they have at all.
Right. Yeah. So molten is a keyword now that when you attack with something with molten and a creature defends it, they get burned. And what a burn is they will take 1 damage at the start of each turn. So it's a little 1/1, but if they choose to block with a creature, they're going to get inflicted with a burn, and they're going to slowly take damage each turn over and over. This proves to be more annoying than it seems on the surface. It's a really fun mechanic and really makes the opponent's decision making if they're going to block these pesky little 1 damage engines, and it really adds a nice dynamic to the game. I'm really happy with how that came out, and it applies to the Void Realm theme really well. Really makes it feel like you're getting cooked. The
Yeah,
other
I
ones,
can I
the
can
go ahead.
speak to I was gonna say I can speak to some play testing using the undead deck and blocking a 1/1 with my 10/10 abomination I created from a Necro Apprentice, and then just watching it kind of wither away. It's definitely it's effective, and it's 100% on theme.
Yeah, it's super fun. The other keyword's anti-arcane. So as you know, nightmares were thematic about being sorcerers. We're all going crazy and insane. Sanity's going down. So anti-arcane means that these little guys can only be affected by combat. So they're not affected by arcane damage from spells or AoE. It's got to be from combat. So they have to attack, defend another creature actively in order to take any damage. So this is important for a couple different axes that we're going to cover here with this archetype specifically, but also something such as there's a necromancer. I always forget his name, but he does the AOE. What does 3 damage to
Necromaniac.
everybody? Necromaniac. Yeah, so he'll come out all the 3 damage he would do to everybody. Guess who's not affected? Void engines are going to hang around. They don't care about that AOE, so they're going to hang
You
around
know,
and not be bothered.
I didn't realize until we started adding anti-arcane into the game just how much AoE there was in Nightmares.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, all of it just gets invalidated. And yeah, these things are pretty crazy.
Yeah, which is important. We want these guys to hang around. So once we get into the next part of these cards here, we'll see why we want to keep these guys and give them a little bit of evasion to damage. But speaking of that, on the right here, we have some of my favorite artwork in the game. We have Hellfire Impling. It's a 2-cost 2/2, has Molten, and on summon, deal 1 damage to the opponent. So nothing too crazy on text there. A little bit more annoying with the Molten. A little more enticed to block this one, which is good for proc and the Molten and the burn effect. But just it's a base. You don't need to fabricate onto the Void Engine. You can just play them. And the Molten effect from either one of these will go to whoever fabricates on top, which is important and very cool, along with the anti-arcane, which can be proved to be super powerful. Any thoughts on the Hellfire Impling, Mike?
No, no, it was a very solid addition. It's funny, early in the design phase, I think we had this guy as like a 3 mana 3/3, and he was a machination. And you had to fabricate him onto like a void engine,
Mm-hmm.
and it really felt. And you'll see as we look into the rest of this set, and especially this particular package, but it really felt like we just needed another base machination. And you get the realmless ones that anybody can play, the 1/1 and the 2/2, and they're helpful, but carrying that molten from a second base option just really seemed to open the archetype up.
Yeah, I agree entirely. Absolutely. But these
Well,
two
should we
guys,
show them the machination?
we should, as that was the inspiration for this entire archetype. It kind of started from this next guy here and branched out. So absolutely.
Get rid of these guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, so here's the big legendary. There we
Hulking
go.
Void Abomination. So this guy is kind of where my brain started when I was thinking about what kind of Void Realm machination can we focus the whole build around. So this is a 4-cost legendary. Seems pretty good. Comes in with 4 power and 1 toughness. So
So
what's the catch here?
one
Go ahead.
update to that. Sorry,
Go ahead.
it didn't make it onto this, but it is available in game once it's launched. There's actually a 4 mana 4/4.
Oh, that's right. That's
We had
right.
him with
4/4.
4/1. I hadn't updated the artwork yet, but
Gotcha. That's right. So yeah, because we had an issue where he would, as you'll see, we'll talk about the text, but he was a little bit too fragile for what we were looking for. So he comes out with a little more health. But so you have to fabricate onto a base that we were just talking about. So either the Void Engine, a regular scrap bot, or the Impling, for example. And when you do, you summon 2 1/1 Void Engines alongside him, which is awesome by itself. But at the end of turn, he takes 1 damage. So the inspiration for this was, I was thinking about these demons. They're gonna throw some crazy machine together, but it's hot. It's molten down there. Everything's on fire. So I want a theme of this giant robot. He's falling apart, right? He's holding together just by sheer willpower of these demons, just keeping him up and running using these engines. So the taking 1 damage symbolizes and kind of thematically ties what I was looking for together. Of you got to kind of upkeep him. He's kind of cheap, but you have to keep pitching 1 mana into him to consume a Void Engine and gain +1/+1. So you need Void Engines out in order to sustain your hulking abomination here and keep him growing and stronger as the game goes on. So that's kind of where the balancing act comes in for this archetype, is keeping those base Void Engines out and keeping your big boy alive. What do you think about this guy, Mike?
yeah, I love this card. And one of the really important. Okay, so this might be my favorite card in the set. And one of the really important things with this strategy, you can fabricate him onto anything, but you have to fabricate him onto a Void Engine, because once this guy comes down as a 4 mana 5/5 with anti-arcane, don't get me wrong, the Molten's important too. When you give him
Right.
anti-arcane, he just becomes something that your opponent to deal with, right? They
Yep.
can't use AoE to get rid of it. They can't use any kind of damage-based removal. He's there. And you can, as the text reads, you can pay 1 and consume a Void Engine as many times as you want and just keep buffing him up. And he becomes like this inevitable damage that's just going to swing at them every turn. And unless they have something with enough attack on board to block it out and kill it, they can't do damage to get rid of it. And man, this card is fun.
It's
You
super
guys will
fun.
see it when we get into the gameplay, but it is such a cool design.
So yeah, so the next thing that I was thinking about was, okay, so you have your base cards out, but then what happens when he gobbles up all the Void Engines, right? So we needed some sort of engine to keep the engines coming out, and that leads us into our next couple of cards here that kind of support him once the hulking A bomb's out. What he needs some help, some other
Yeah, so
ways to
AJ
create
kind of built
these.
a whole combo around keeping this guy up. So we've got 2 cards here that we'll talk through that really just make this archetype sing. All right, there you
All
go.
right, so we got some other cool guys here. So On the left here, we have the Imp Tinkerer. He's a 3-cost 2/3, and his text is pay 1 mana to summon a 1/1 Void Engine. So you got your Imp Tinkerer out, and he's just, you spend a couple mana to get some Void Engines out, you spend a couple more mana to buff up your hulking A-Bomb, and your A-Bomb's got +2/+2, and it just costs you 4 mana, and your A-Bomb's still alive, and it gets a little stronger each turn. So Imp Tinkerer is the main combo piece that you want to have out alongside your hulking abomination, so that you can continue to keep the steady stream of Void Engines at his ready, so he can always just gobble them up, and you're good to go. You don't have to worry about him slowly withering away. Alongside that, we have a Pyromaniac. He's a 4-cost 3/2, and at the start of each turn, give your machinations +0/+1. So this is another way to sustain if you don't happen to have your Void Engines out. You can't buff the power of the hulking abomination. However, you can prevent him from falling apart. So the mechanic is gonna keep him up and alive, sustained. And if you can get a couple of these guys out, he can get stronger over time instead of falling apart. Even without the Void Engines, just in terms of tankiness, which could just be good for blocking, but also just more of a pain in the ass for your opponent to deal with, because they're gonna have to get rid of him via combat. He's not going anywhere.
Oh yeah, 100%. And then, I mean, if you happen to get both out at the same time, then
Crazy.
you basically just negate the losing life each turn on him, right? And then
Yep.
every Void Engine you eat makes your power and your toughness stronger. And as we said before, they can't do any kind of damage to him outside of combat. So that toughness, the only way they're going to affect that is by blocking or attacking, and it just kind of contributes to that, like, he's inevitable, he's coming for you, and unless you have stronger creatures, he's just going to kill you eventually.
That's right. So the Pyro Mechanic and the Tinkerer become prime targets for opponent spells, while your Hulking Abomination is just still existing and applying pressure on his own. So if you have just the Hulking Abomination out, a Tinkerer, and a Pyro Mechanic, you only need 4 mana to basically do what you want to do each turn. Make 2 Void Engines, have the Abomination consume both of those, and then you have 2 free slots back free on the board to play another creature if you want, or whatever. But take care of your
Just
big
let
boy
him,
first. Yeah,
yeah, just let him continually get stronger, and your opponent has to find a way to deal with it.
super fun. So yeah, these guys all work really well together. I think the theme is super sweet, and I'm really pleased with how it all kind of came together.
Absolutely. All
So
right,
that's
should
that.
we
Yeah, go ahead to the next one here. It's not the same archetype. It doesn't play around the hulking abomination per se, but this is a super powerful card coming up.
well, so we had one more card directly for the archetype, right? We've got this Beelzebub's Replicator.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Looked right over that one on our list here. So Beelzebub's Replicator. We have he's an 8-cost. This guy's a legendary as well, right? So we
No, we
made
just
this
have him
one.
as a common.
Oh, common. Okay, cool. So he's an 8-cost. Choose a machination you control and replace your machination with copies of it. So now this can be just endgame wombo combo. So you have a hulking abomination. Let's say they AoE'd away your tinkerer and your mechanic. You have a hulking abomination. He's only got a few turns left to live. Not an ideal situation. But you throw one of these down. You choose your hulking abomination, and let's say you just have some void engines around that you were able to make with your tinkerer. They can't be damaged by arcane, right? So they're the only ones left. Your mechanic and your tinkerers are gone. So you choose your hulking abomination, and the next thing you know, your 2 void engines are now also hulking abominations, and now you have 3 of them on the board for just an 8-cost. And now you're just running rabbit here. This is a end game combo. Next turn, you can just send the house. It feels awesome if you can pull this off.
Oh yeah, it's the perfect way to close out a game. It you take that inevitability that you've got going, and you multiply it by 4, and then weird, the opponent tends to die.
It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Love this card. Super awesome. It's
absolutely.
similar.
All
So
right,
it's similar to the it's similar to the legendary generic one. That's the replicator engine. What's the one's
yep,
called? So a little
yeah,
similar
yeah.
to
So
that.
kind of riffing on that same concept a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah.
All right, so I already said that the hulking void abomination might be my favorite card in the set. But if there was a card that was going to give it a run for its money, it's this next one.
Yes, it's the Void Area that we're introducing. This Mike actually came up with this one. This was a late addition to the set once he came up with the areas concept, and it is a perfect card. This is Proving Grounds. It is a legendary 3-cost area. At the start of each player's turn, they take 2 damage. When a creature is played, burn it. Either player may pay 5 to destroy this. Now, this is just when this enters play and you didn't put it down, it is terrifying. It applies so much anxiety each turn because it's just a ticking time bomb of just taking 2 damage. Everything I play is going to get hurt. And the good news is, if it's in your deck, you're the Void, and you have your anti-arcane machinations down, they're not going to take the burn damage. They don't care. They're not going to get hurt. They are immune to that. So you can just keep slapping them down, fabricating on top, and really pressure your opponent to make some really, sometimes nearly impossible decisions on what they're going to do and how they're going to get out of this literal hellscape.
This card is wild. It's funny. We talked a lot about how the whole idea with Nightmares and the feel that we're opponent, you're also racing the clock, right? You've got to make sure that if you're not going to close out the game, that your life is higher than your opponent's when the game ends. And this just takes that like feeling of anxiety, that feeling of tension, and just multiplies it 10x. It like
So
when
awesome.
this hits the field, the game changes every single game. And you guys will see it tonight. I'm sure this will get played, but all of a sudden it is I have to think through every turn because every turn there's a chance I'm going to die. Now, taking 2 damage at the beginning of each turn, it's crazy how big of an impact that really is. And having to pay 5 to get rid of this, I mean, you want to get rid of it as soon as you can. So it's like turns 5, 6, 7, assuming it gets played on 3.
Yeah.
And after taking 2 damage for a couple turns and then giving up and basically an entire turn to get rid of it, like you really have to think through what your options are. This is a fun card.
Yeah, it's almost the only other way that I can see getting rid of this effectively is if you have your own area in your deck that you can just play over for cheaper. That's the only way that I've seen success around it consistently. Otherwise, it takes you to the proving grounds, man, and it's hard to get out of there.
Yeah, if you don't have an area to play on top of it, the paying 5 most of the time just isn't an option because you're not going to make it to enough of the late game to be able to pay 5 without it really wrecking your turn. So it's kind of like either I have an area I can play or I have to just steer into this and try to kill the opponent. Right?
Yeah, it makes for some really fun decisions and super stressful games.
Yeah, 100%.
Thematically, it's by far my favorite, and also the art on the game board when this is played is just astonishing.
It is. We will definitely get to see it tonight, and it's pretty crazy looking.
I love it.
All right, so we had one more burn focused card that we can talk about. Kind of the cherry on top of once you're in the proving grounds, here's how you make your opponent really cry.
So this is the last card that I came up with related to this. I was trying to figure out a good way to help capitalize on burn, as it is something you can lean into specifically with the machinations. On its own, it is some damage and it is annoying. But late game when things have a lot of health, it's not as big of a deal, right? So let's say they have let's say you have your 10/10 Undead Abomination out, right? He's strong. Let's say you block one engine, he's burning, and it's gonna take a long time for him to burn down. So then I was like, how can we really punish creatures that have been burning and they're just hanging out? So this is Soul Burn. It is a 4-cost spell, and it's deal 3 damage to all burned enemies, then burn the rest. So anybody that's not burned, you're getting burned now. So everybody's got burned. However, if you're already burned, you're taking a burst damage of 3, which could be really nice for board clear. Late game, one of my favorite things to do. is to just play 2 of these. You have 8 mana, you soul burn, and then soul burn them again. And everybody gets burned, everybody takes 3 damage, which is awesome. Proving Grounds obviously makes that way easier. Things are coming in burned, and it just stacks so nicely late game. It's super fun to just lay waste in mass while you're all fighting for your life down there. Feels awesome.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny. Up until Dark Machinations, kind of the marquee AoE card for the Void has been Mutilate, and you've got to pay 5 mana for it, and typically you play it on 5, and then it wipes the entire board, yours and your opponent's. And
Yep.
what I've found a lot of times with Soulburn, especially if Proving Grounds is down and everything enters the board burned, this becomes a 1 mana less, a 4 mana AoE that just hits your opponent. It feels like a one-sided mutilate. So it when comboed right, either with some Hellfire Implings or with a Proving Grounds, this can be devastating. It can really shut your opponent down and just, especially say you've got a Hulking Void Abomination down and you've been feeding him and he's nice and strong. Just wipe your opponent's board real quick, swing it. Oh, look, they're dead.
Yep, absolutely. And mid game, if you're able to poke your opponent with some Void Engines, let's say you get a Tinker out early and you're just pumping out some Void Engines and you're just sending them, and they've chosen to block a couple of them and everybody's got a little bit of burn, and you send this out mid game when you have like 5 or 6 mana and their whole board takes 3 damage out of nowhere, that can also catch them by surprise and swing tempo a bit. Just some random
Absolutely.
board clear. Yeah. Super cool card. Love it.
Yeah. All right. We've got 2 left to talk about, and these are kind of feeding into the old demon strategy.
Yep.
So let's pull them up. So we have Rise of the Machines and Sacrificial Altar.
Yes. Also some incredible art, especially in Sacrificial Altar here.
I was going to say, I actually really like the artwork on Rise of the Machines.
Yeah.
Here, I'll pull this up while you're talking, but hang on. There's some cool, we'll say, artwork synergy.
Oh, I'm excited to see this. I don't even know what you're about to pull up.
Hang on, this is cool. From last week. Here we go. Um, yeah.
Oh,
So
nice.
look at the mechs in March of the Machines versus Rise of the Machines.
Pretty dope there, actually. I like that a lot.
Right? Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
All right, so
So,
Rise of the Machines.
yes, let's dive into it. So, Rise of the Machines, we have a 7 cost spell, late game card for sure. And you would convert all your creatures with Imp in their name to 1/1 Void Engines. So, this is a hybrid card. So, if you're going to go for it, we wanted to not totally silo the Machinations away from the regular Demon, Imp, Swarm style archetypes. We want to be able to have some overlap, give some deck building options, similar to how we did with the Black Forest and the Spiders. The Spiders are well adapted to be in the Machinations build. No problem. They fit right in. So this is kind of that card that bridges these 2 archetypes. Can be very powerful. You get an Imp Factory down, and then switch them all to Void Engines, throw a Hulking Abomination down, and he can just gobble them all up. And really sweet combo can happen with that. Not necessarily easy to pull off. However, it can be very powerful. You don't need too many Machination cards, because as long as you're producing imps that are relatively cheap, this card will take care of the Machination shortage for you. I think this card's sweet. I think it's an awesome way to bridge the 2. What are your thoughts on it?
No, absolutely. And speaking of like combo potential, right? You could have a couple pyromaniacs that you got killed off, and then say you've got an imp factory down. So you summon a whole bunch of imps, and everyone you summon is dealing some damage to your opponent. Then say you already had a hulking void abomination down, you flip them all over to be void engines, and now he can eat all of them and swing in to kind of finish them off. So it pairs well, not necessarily. I mean, it could pair with either, but I look at it not necessarily with the imp swarm deck as much as with the like imp combo deck, where you're just trying to get your pyromaniacs killed off and then use imp factor to just burn them down. And a lot of times you do a lot of burn damage, right? But then they've got like 5 or 6 life left, and you've got a board full of 1/1 imps that you can't do anything with. But hey, if you
Yeah,
can turn them all into void engines, now all of a sudden they're more useful, right? So
definitely. Absolutely.
it's a way to bridge that combo to machination kind of hybrid deck we've been playing with, and I think it's real.
It's definitely real. It's absolutely there. And the ceiling of that card is kind of bananas, hence the 7 cost. We didn't want that coming out too reliably. Very scary
Yeah, it could
card.
get a little out of hand.
Little bit. Love it. And the next card here, the last one we're going to talk about tonight before we start getting into some gameplay, is Sacrificial Altar. We have a 6 cost curse with some dope artwork. And then we have a 1 mana. Sacrifice a demon you control and you gain life equal to its toughness. So the Void archetype is not known for gaining health. It's usually about the burning of the opponent. So that's not really something you associate. I wanted to kind of turn it on its head a little bit, give the deck an option to sustain itself against let's say a rock solid board state the opponent has. You're relying on direct damage, so you need to kind of survive long enough with your maybe weaker board state, like all the 1/1 imps. Maybe you just got some void engines down, maybe a demon or two. You put your Sacrificial Altar down, gobble up a couple of your demons, gain some health, and then you have maybe bought yourself a whole nother turn, and you can burn your opponent and maybe swing the game there last second. So I think it's really neat. It allows some really cool lines of play, and definitely opens up a whole new possible future archetypes for Void overall. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. So the big thing I noticed was the like demon swarm deck that's really popular right now. It, unlike the machinations that we're introducing, it is very susceptible to AoE. And
Yeah.
I've had many games where I've got a fairly strong board, but say everything's 3 health except for like 1 or 2, 4 or 5 toughness guys, and most of my board gets wiped. And I have the cards in hand that if I have time, I can rebuild this board and swarm the opponent down, but they kill me before I get the chance. And if you have 1 or 2 stronger demons left sitting around, they're not necessarily going to swing the game for you, right? The whole game is, or the whole strategy is focused around building a swarm of weaker enemies and then buffing them up. So if you already have Sacrificial Altar on board, you can sack that remaining 1 or 2 demons to give yourself enough of a life buffer that then you can play another hand out and buff it up. Then it kind of buys you that ability to swing back, which is what the deck is missing. It's a lot of, I build a strong board. If you can wipe it, I'm out of the game, right? And this
Right.
kind of gives you the ability to come back. So it's a very
I know we lost Mike there for a sec.
Oh, sorry, I froze. I was
Yeah,
just saying it is a very nice addition to that deck, I think.
absolutely. It definitely rounds out your end game options instead of just having to be locked in on a single lane of if they clear the board, it's all over. You have this in the back pocket. You can always have this down. I love it. I think all these cards came out great. I'm super happy with how it all came together. Playtesting, it's been some of the most fun I've ever had with Nightmares. It's just been a pleasure. Glad I was able to work with you on this.
Oh yeah, this deck that we're gonna show off tonight is so much fun, and you'll see it in the gameplay, but it does some wild things. So
Can't wait.
yeah, I think maybe we'll jump over to the deck tech now, and then we can show some of the gameplay. What do you think, AJ?
Yeah, man, let's get it going. What's up, everybody? AJ here from the Nightmares dev team, and I'm going to go over my Void Machination deck tech here, going over utilizing most of the cards that we talked about in the preview video that you just saw for the Dark Machinations expansion. So this deck tech is going to cover basically the overall theme and strategy that we're going to look to implement here. You'll see some of the cards we didn't talk about. They're just the generic ones that we talked about last week with the just Scrap Bot and the Scrap Intimidator. They're just going to make sure they're there to almost always guarantee we have a base machination available to us to play onto the field. We don't want to be caught without one. The whole strategy revolves us around getting our Hulking Void Abomination out on the board and keeping him alive. So some key mechanics like we talked about, key pieces. We want to have the M Tinker out as early as we can. Make sure that we can make some Void engines. We want the Hulking Void Abomination out as soon as we can. Ideally, we could do those back to back. We could do a 3 mana and then a 4 mana. So by turn 3 or 4, we could be up and going. That's the ideal pace we're looking to get. By turn 5, we absolutely want to have a Hulking Void Abomination down. If we don't, by the time we have 5 mana, we're going to be behind, and we don't want to fall behind against the Black Forest. You'll see a Lesser Fire Demon. Lesser Fire Demon's in the list, about 4th down there. That's good for just general board clear. Since our engines are not affected by the arcane damage coming off the Lesser Fire Demons, we don't have to worry about hurting them. So it gives us good board clear swing potential. Not worrying about our engines. Yes, the demon will hurt himself, but that's the trade-off you get for doing AoE damage to everybody except our anti-arcane base machinations. Of course, we have copies of Proving Grounds in here. There are 3. It's got legendary, so actually let's drop that down to 2. This dev server doesn't have that updated, so we're going to put another copy of... Make a little tweak here on the fly. Let's put a Pyro Mechanic. Let's get a 3rd one in there. Alright, so we'll put a 3rd Pyro Mechanic in there. We'll just keep the Proving Grounds at 2 like it's supposed to be. You have Mutilate in there to also maintain board clear, and it's a one-way Mutilate, right? Because ideally, our Machinations will be down. They have anti-arcane. We're not going to worry about it. We can Mutilate, and ideally, most of our creatures, if not all of them, are not going to be affected. So it's going to be a one-way Mutilate. Great way to clear the board and then swing huge with our big beefy machines. Soul Burn, of course, staple, late game burn and board clear. Works really well with Proving Grounds. And then we have 1 copy of Replicator Engine, which is the legendary generic machination. So this one here. So that will fabricate onto a random base machination. So I'm going to copy with Rush. That's good. And then it's cheaper than the Beelzebub Replicator Engine, which we also have a copy of course. And that will allow us to get multiple Hulking Void Abominations out and hopefully close the game out. Similar to how the Sunken City uses Cthulhu's to flood the board and rush down with the Abyssal variant. We're going to try to do something similar here with either Replicator Engine or the Beelzebub's Replicator. Just a way to multiply our big machines late game, and that's how we're going to close it out. So that pretty much covers the deck tech. Strategy is pretty straightforward. We just need to worry about order of operations and getting our foundational pieces down early, and then maintaining our big machinations, and hopefully keep the tempo up with one-sided AoE board clear that we don't have to worry about because we're void, anti-arcane, and we're awesome. All right, see you guys later. See you out there. All right, Mike. Game 1 here with the Void Machinations deck. Ready?
I am so ready to see what you've got.
All right, let's get it going. Mulligan time. All right, I'm gonna be honest. Not my best work here on the open and draw.
You're in good company. This is not my favorite hand either. So for clarity, I'm playing the Sporeling deck into the Void Machinations. So we'll see how that matches up. Okay.
Should be interesting.
It's a turn 1 play. It counts.
He's out here.
I also have a turn 1 play.
Excellent. Yours is a bit better. A bit better.
Spreading Sporeling.
Yep. I like him. All right. We don't want that yet. Here we go. Let's get a little Void Engine in play.
Oh, there he is.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, for turn 2, I think I'll just play another Sporeling.
That seems fair. Seems fair. All right. Well, let's welcome to hell.
Oh no, not. Oh god, we're already in the Proving Grounds.
Indeed. And I will send a Void Engine with Molten your way.
So, fun thing about Molten and Burned with the Sporeling deck, it is like the antithesis of my entire strategy. I can't block it. The whole point of the Sporelings is to continue getting spore counters, and Burn just means that they die and you lose your spore counters.
Yep.
Oh god. Yep. How about that artwork though?
It looks really, really good. It fits so nicely on the game board.
Alright, well I guess I'll be attacking since you've decided that we need to go fast.
Yeah, I think going fast is the only thing that this deck knows how to do.
Yep, that seems fair.
All right, so now, what is the plan? I'm going to say plan is play a Hulking Void Abomination. Just
Okay,
get him
yep,
on
you're
out
going
there.
fast.
We're out here. No rush, so he's not coming in with an attack. However,
Weird.
they
None
got
of your guys
Intimidate.
were burned.
Yeah,
Alright.
that's weird.
So we have Intimidate, but all of our guys are pretty weak. It's not useful yet. Okay, I have to think about this. So I need 7 to activate my Rallying Growth Sporeling.
Yep.
I'm at 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I can pay 1 to give them all a little extra defense. Since some of us are getting burned over here.
A little bit.
Just pat back.
Nice. Pretty solid play. All right. We're gonna call this one the old Mutilate.
Oh, okay. That was
Just like we
devastating.
talked about, gang. We talked about the one-way Mutilates being huge in this deck.
And
it
they
just-
are. Oh, I don't even know if I can come back from that.
I'm not sure you can, because you're gonna take a
That
9-point
is-
swing there. That was bananas.
That was wild. All right. Let's see what we can do here.
We know what that guy is.
Or-
So, Mike, talk about the reveal mechanic and burn for the Dark Woods. How does that work?
Yeah, so both sides should get burned, right? So the Suspicious Oak gets burned, so
Yep.
it will go to a 2-1, but then it flips, and then that side should also get burned, I believe.
Sweet. All right, so we are going to do
We're gonna
a
test that.
lesser fire demon, and we're going to. He's burned, so we are just going to do some damage
Oh,
and get rid
This
of that
is-
guy.
this is brutal.
It's not great. I'm gonna be honest.
I mean, we wanted to show what the deck can
Right.
do. This
Yeah.
gang is what the deck can do.
This
I'm
is
at
it,
3 life. Oh,
and that's that. That was crazy.
wild.
That was fast. Proving Grounds turn 3. That's what you want.
Proving Grounds is a insane card.
Absolutely crazy. That's not a good matchup for Spores, I will say, but I drew very well with that. But we got to see what it wanted to do, so that was pretty cool.
Oh man, that was so cool. Good game.
Yeah, man, GG's. On to the next.
All right. Well, that first game was brutal, so now it's my turn to play the Void Machination deck.
I'm ready.
All right, let's see. I'm hoping I can do it justice. You definitely did. That's a decent
tried.
roll again. All right.
For clarity, I'm playing these spider mechs on my side.
Which I think is a little better matchup than Sporeling. Sporelings are not favored into this deck.
Yeah, we need something a little faster.
Yeah, they're very much a setup deck, which into some strategies is really powerful, but it's not super great into this deck.
No.
All right,
That's a good start.
Lesser Fire Demon on 2 is kind of the best start you can get into any kind of spider-based deck. Also, that
Yep.
collector's edition artwork is pretty sick.
This is also some of my favorite. I think I just like all the art in this game, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I'm very happy with our artwork.
Definitely unbiased.
Yeah, super unbiased. All right, let's get rid of the spiders. Play down a nice Hellfire Impling. Get a base
Nice.
smack down. And just get a damage across since you got some into me already. Tie the game.
Yep,
back.
yep. Excellent. All right. in an interesting spot in terms of what I can play. So, best play I got is to play a scrap bot down and then a scavenging Wendigo, draw a couple cards,
Okay.
and pass on back. Not an ideal play, but didn't have enough mana for anything.
Is you'd really like me to have enough time to set something cool up?
Yeah, definitely. That would be really, really great.
I'm gonna get this Imp Tinkerer down, use him to summon a Void Engine, and I'll offer you the burn if you'd like it.
Oh man, decision time. It's 2 damage. What can I do next turn? Anything worthwhile? Boy, let's see. Yeah, let's block the damage here. Fine, see you, buddy. Oh, well, actually, we can... Wait, hang on. We can do something. We'll be alright here. Let's play another scavenging. Get rid of the burn guy. Draw 2. Okay. It's not so bad.
Got some use out of it.
Yep, got some use out of him. Gobbled him up. And then, that's kind of useless to play there because I know what you're going to do to me. I think I need to do that. Alright. Play a Suspicious Oak.
Oh, I don't know how much mana you had.
Yeah.
You had 2. That is an Ambushing Darkwood. Okay.
You could maybe say that. Cannot confirm or deny.
I can. Okay. That means I've got to get rid of it, so we're going to use Lesser Fire Demon twice.
Makes sense.
Alright. I've got 3 left. What should I do with 3? Oh, this is a tough one. Let's summon 3 Void Void Engines.
Seems fair. Seems fair. Alright, so now let's do a scrap bot into a hive mind.
Ooh, okay. Get a little mega
and
skater
I
out
will.
there.
Yeah. I'm trying to decide. So you have a full board. So if I don't swing anything, you could do your hulking A-bomb, and you don't get the bonus 2 engines. So you lose a little bit of value there.
It's true.
So you won't be able to attack with him. I'm going to not attack. I'm going to stay here.
I think that was the right play.
A lot of cards in hand over there. That's scary.
Yeah, I got a lot of options I'm debating between at the moment.
Yeah.
Tell you what, let's go to the Proving Grounds.
Hell yeah. Take me there.
We'll just offer some burn to you.
Seems fair. Seems alright. 4 damage is a little annoying. A little bit annoying.
It's funny, 4 damage
But it's not
gets more annoying when you know you're taking 2 at the start of every turn.
It's very true. Well, I don't think it's worth losing any of those guys right now. So I'm going to just take the 4.
Okay.
Take the 2. Go to 9. Effective little buggers.
Yeah.
So I shall leave the Proving Grounds and take you to the Forge.
Okay. Okay. I don't hate the Forge.
Yeah, so we're out here. And, let's see. What can we play now? Let's see, what can we play now? Probably hang on to that. We'll just swing with everything. You can't block the Mecha Skitter at all. Intimidate, easy throw.
Yep, that's 2 guaranteed damage.
Yep.
Alright, we'll take this 2-1 off the board, and then we'll avoid the 4 damage. Okay. All right, do a couple things here. First,
Okay.
let's head on back to the Proving Grounds.
That's a bummer, I'm gonna be honest.
And then let's Void Abomination.
Seems fair.
Yep. And then, yeah, I'll swing in with this little Void Engine. You know, what is 1 life worth to you when you're in the Proving Grounds? Yep.
Yeah, that much. That much. Okay. See. Having a problem. Small problem. Let's get out of the Proving Grounds again. Counter you with another Forge.
Fair enough. Well, that was my second Proving Ground, so we're done with the Proving Grounds.
Intimidator? Ooh, got a Serpentine Amalgamation coming out.
So that is new. Looks like
It is. It comes with Rush. Yep. And on some, we would create a that which lies below in hand. However, that does not apply here. So,
But I could see that being useful in the Abyssal deck.
You could say. I will now play March of the Machines.
Oh boy, here it comes.
And we're going to swing with a 7, a 5, and the new guy that has Rush that came out of the Forge.
Alright. So we need to block as much as we can here, I think. Yeah. There we go. We'll take 5. I don't feel like giving you my Void Abomination.
Seems fair.
Okay.
So that buff was only for that turn. So all my guys lost their +3/+0.
Yeah. Alright, so let's do... Oh, that's right. I forgot. I was going to summon some of these too with your Forge. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and Mutilate.
Nice.
Fairly one-sided.
Not too bad.
Go ahead and summon
And just enough.
Summon another Void Engine.
Oh, nice Rush.
And I'll be
Good pull.
1 short.
Man, thankfully we're not in the Proving Grounds anymore. Glad we got out of there.
That would have been the end of that.
That would have been a bummer. I'm gonna be honest. Well, I have 3 6 costs in my hand.
That's not good, because all the 6 costs in that deck are Machinations, and you don't have any base max.
Yep. That's correct. Well, so let's see. What can we do here? Oh, no, don't want to do that. Guess we'll do that.
Okay, yeah, it gives you an extra one.
Yep.
Oop, little Replicator Engine, okay. Buff
Yep.
up, but my board's wide enough, I think that... I think you got a way out of
Not
this
much
one.
I can do here.
No?
Yeah, I don't. That was the best I could do.
Alright. Yep, tell you what, we'll go ahead and make another Void Abomination, just to...
Yeehaw.
There we go. And it looks
Well,
like 1 damage
seems
is
like-
gonna get across.
Just lethal enough.
Look at that, exact lethal.
Well played. That was
Good
closer.
game.
That was a better matchup for sure. The
Yeah,
Forge
yeah.
counters were clutch.
For sure, yeah. Forge being able to counter Proving Grounds definitely comes in handy, but it was not quite enough in that game.
Nope. Well played, sir. Nice job.
GG, buddy.
GG's.